All right. So the goal of this video is to not only make an interactive dashboard using this specific data set, I also want to explain Power BI to somebody who's never used, not even used a computer before, right? I want to make this explanation so simple because, a lot of people they look into these kind of visualization tools and they think, wow, this is a very complicated process. This is going to take me weeks to learn, maybe even months to learn, because what you're looking at, you don't really understand for the most part. Okay. Once you understand, it's very simple. What exactly, let's first talk about what exactly is Power BI. And it's simple as taking messy data and turning it into easy to read visuals to help a business, which I forgot to write that, help a business succeed and profit. Okay. So, what is this messy data first, right? Let's explain it to somebody who's never even used Power BI before. How will I explain messy data? Messy data is for the most part just a CSV file. A CSV file with numbers and names and IDs and just a lot of things in the CSV file that, these files come in like thousands. I've worked with at least 3,000 records. There's so many. Sometimes you will get so many rows, so many columns, right? Rows and then columns like this, and they will go on forever, 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 right? Nobody can sit there and try to interpret, right? A big data set like this. This is what Power BI comes into play, right? The way I would describe it is data is the raw ingredients in the kitchen, and then Power BI is the chef. That's the best way I could describe it. We're just taking a messy data set, we're making it look nice and pretty. Simple as that. So when you see these charts, these graphs, these pie charts, these KPIs, you what you're trying to find out, like, how is this made? How do people make dashboards like this? If I were to say put Power BI dashboard, right? And we just look at an image. How do they make these insights for businesses? What is the process, right? And that's what we're going to do in this video. So without further ado, no more wasting time. The first thing we're gonna first need our data set. That's the first thing we're gonna need. So I'm just gonna take all this off. All right. All right, guys, let's get started. Okay. So the first thing is I want my theme. First, always think about the theme. You don't have to do this color. I'm doing black and pink because I think it just looks nice. So you choose the theme, make sure it could be any color you want, but make sure it's easy to read, right? Okay, how are we going to change this background? First thing, we're going to go into the visualizations, okay? Wallpaper, okay? And color. All right, and you choose. You can do blue, you can do orange, or you can do mine, which is just black. I'm just going to stick to black for now. If we go on the right, let's take a look at this data tab. What do we see? We see all of the data that we're going to use. Okay. What you would do is you would drag this into the field and you would display it, make it a visualization using one of these images. Do we want a donut, pie chart? Do we want a tree map? Do we want incorporate Python? Do we want a clustered bar? Whatever. Okay, and that's how easy it is. That's really what using Power BI is all about, okay? So, first let's add a text, right? We want you to put your name in it, okay? This is gonna disappear when I add something, so don't worry about this. You're gonna go into Insert and Text Box, double click it. Okay, it looks like I clicked on two. Just remove it. All right, and here's the text box. So I want you to write your name. All right, we're gonna call this employee attrition dashboard, presented by Amr Al-Afifi. Okay. And it is way too small, I know. So we're gonna make it bigger. Go to font. Okay. This might be a little too big. Let's make it 18. I think 18 is good. Okay. You can change this. Okay. You can also change the styling. So I would do Times New Roman. I think that's a better look for this case. So, and remember I said I wanted to do pink, right? So I'm just going to change the color right here and make it pink. So now we have pink and black. But this doesn't look right. Okay, this is a white label, right? So what we want to do here is just change the transparency. Okay, just follow along. Um, we go to let's take that out. Okay, format text box. This little tab right here. We go to effects. Okay, transparency. Under this background transparency, we're just gonna like that. Or you could also do this, make the background black. So it's up to you. It doesn't really matter. I do transparency. Okay. So now mine is a little bit slow. Transparency at 100. Okay. I don't know why it's not saving. There we go. All right. I don't know why it was doing that. All right. Transparency. Boom. Look what we have so far. We already have our name and we have nothing in there. It's a blank canvas. Okay. So don't turn this in. To your boss, do not turn this in. Okay, now we're going to add the KPIs. This is what I wanted to talk about, okay? Well, first of all, what are KPIs? These are key performing indicators. And basically what that is the important numbers that show whether the business is meeting their goals or not. Okay? And what I try to use is things like number of employees, attrition by count, attrition rate, average age, average salary, average tenure. Tenure is the duration of how long somebody's been working there. Okay. These are standout KPIs because what we're looking for at the end of the day is, well, the problem we're trying to solve is why are employees leaving, right? And we're categorizing based on their department and all of the filters. We're trying to understand how we can prevent attrition, okay, by count. And so what we're going to use six KPIs, number of employees, as I stated, okay? And based on the data, we can actually um, find that. How do we add KPI cards? We're going to go here and we're going to look for card and we want to double click that. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're going to make this a little bit smaller. Now, this is an empty card. There's no data in here. Take a look at here. Fields on the right. Add data fields here. What are we looking for? We're looking for the number of employees. Now, how can we do that? How can we find the number of employees? We don't see number of employees, right? But we have employee ID right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag employee ID like this. We're going to change it to count. Okay. So what we just did is we're counting how many employee IDs are there. Okay. Not the employee number. We don't want the employee number. The employee count might be inaccurate. We're looking for the employee IDs because some some of the names, when we're looking at employee count, some of the names might repeat. So we don't want to trust that. We want to trust the IDs because ID is a unique identifier um, of how many are there. So I'll trust employee ID. Okay, and we can see it's 1,480. Okay, just like that. That is our first key indicator. First key. So we don't want a white background. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go first click on this. This tab right here is the visual to edit. Okay. We're going to turn off category label. We don't need that call out value. Let's make this a little bit smaller. Let's make this to 20. Oh, that's too small. Let's make it 30. Okay. We can reduce the size like this. Reduce the size. All right. We're also going to change this to, what do we want? We want pink. Okay. I'll do pink. Right. And then when we go to background, we're going to make this black color like this. Okay. properties, visual border, turn on visual border. Okay, so visual border, we're gonna make sure the visual border is also pink. And we want a little bit of a rounded corner. Okay, if I'm going too fast, just pause the video. But anything you need, always just type it in here. Okay, visual border. We're going to make this more of like a card. See, like this. There we go. Now this looks more like a KPI. Are going to add a little title to this. So we go here. Oh, first we want to click on the icon. All right. For future reference, anytime you want to change something, you have to first click on it, and then you will see under visuals. Okay. You're gonna go to general title. We're gonna turn on, and we're going to call this count employees. Okay. All right. Count of employees. Okay. Now the reason why we can't see it is because it's black. So we're going to change that to white. There we go. Now we can see it, and we can also make this font just look a little bit nicer. Do like Times. I like Times New Roman a lot. So yeah, and then if we want to make we want to make this a little bit bigger too. Uh, I think this is a good size. I don't think I would change much of this. Right. There we have it. Count of employees. So now we have our first KPI card, okay? But we need five more because we identified five key performance indicators. We don't have to really do what we did earlier, but simply because we already made the KPI card. So let's just copy and paste to add this second API card. I'm sorry, KPI card. But the issue is these two are the same KPIs, right? We already have a count of employees. So we're going to X this out. So now it's an empty card. And instead, what we're going to do is delete this. What we're going to do is we're going to find the attrition count, right? You saw what I had earlier. That was a error. Okay. Right here, we don't see attrition count, right? We have attrition, but no count. And the reason why is because when we go and actually look at the data for attrition, we don't have a number. This is a binary, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, right? So what happens if we just use attrition? What we're gonna get? No, right? Now that makes no sense because this is not telling us a number. This is just saying no, right? So what we want is we want to actually create a new column using the DAX language. We want to create a new column that counts how many yeses, okay? So just follow along. We're going to click on new column, click on that, okay? Up here, you're going to do a little bit of typing. I want you to type in this formula. Attrition count is equal to if, where's the parentheses, HR underscore analytics, or you can just tab HR analytics, and we're looking for the attrition. So inside that, looking for attrition is equal to yes. Okay. And remember, use quotation marks with the yes. It's a string. Yes, one, comma, zero, and close. Okay. What this code right here is doing is it's adding a field where we're counting how many times yes is shown. Okay. Now you want to click on this commit button. Boom. Now we have a count, attrition count. Okay, this is the field that we want. I'm gonna take this, we're gonna drag it, and look at that, 238, right? So that's really what is saying is yes, there's 238 employees that have left based on this data set, okay? And remember, when it comes to editing, let's go back to this, all right? You want to always remember to go here, okay? Click go here, go to general. title. Now, this is not count of employees. This is just attrition. Okay. We change that to attrition, make it in the center like this. Can also increase a little bit, you know. Want to make sure that we can really see. Same with this one. I also want to increase the title. Oh, that's a little too much. Let's make it back to like 17. Or let's just keep it at 14 for now. Okay. There we go. We have one, two. We have one and two KPI cards. Okay. Do you guys remember what's the next KPI card? What's the next key performance indicator? It is attrition rate. Okay. Attrition rate involves basically calculating these two data sets, right? Taking these two and the sum of each of the data sets and dividing them, right? So, if we're looking for attrition rate, we're not going to find that here, okay? We will have to do the same thing as we did to find attrition count, which is the formula, okay? So we're going to do the same thing. You're going to go up here from modeling, new column, okay? Delete this column equals, okay? Now we're going to do attrition rate. This is index. So type in attrition rate is equal to the sum of HR analytics, and in that sublet is attrition count. Oops, attrition count. So HR analytics attrition. Oh my God, I messed that up. Okay, let me. Yeah, I'll have to do that again because yeah, I am using a mirror since I'm using a Mac. I'm kind of it's on my other computer, so sometimes I might accidentally click the wrong button. But anyways, let's do this again. Some HR analytics, okay? And in that is attrition count, okay? Just tab like that. Divide that by the sum of HR analytics, and we're dividing by employee count. Employee count. I cannot spell today. All right, and we're gonna close. All right. So this right here is how we're going to find the attrition rate. Taking the sum of the count of our attrition count, we're dividing it by how many total employees are there. Taking this, dividing it by this. That's all it is. Okay. I know it looks complicated because of it's in Power BI, and it seems a little bit hard to understand, but it's very simple. We have sum means the total. We have HR analytics is the specific uh the specific set, right? And in that set, we're taking this specific ID. Okay. So you're gonna click on the check mark. There we go. Oops. Looks like there's a little error. So this would actually be the correct, okay? This would be the correct DAX query. I'm sorry, the DAX language, okay? Attrition rate is equal to divide. Based on your version of Power BI, some DAX languages you might have to, change up. If that previous formula didn't work, then just try this one, okay? Divide some HR analytics, comma, some HR employee count, okay? Click the check mark, and there we go. We have attrition rate on the right, okay? So now, remember what we did last time? I'm just gonna copy and paste, and I'm gonna bring it here, okay? But we can't have the same data, so I'm going to X this out, and I'm going to drag in attrition rate. Oops, attrition rate. So what we have here when we drag in attrition rate is 238, but we're not looking for the sum, right? This is what we're getting is a default sum. We're actually trying to get the average, okay? We're going to click on average. We get 0.16, all right? Now, we can't have 0.16. We're looking for a percentage. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here and we're going to look for attrition rate, okay? We're going to click on percentage. because we want a percentage, right? Okay, go back here. There we go. Attrition rate is, and one more thing, we also have to just change the title. Okay, so we're gonna go here. This is everything you need. Attrition rate. Done. There we go. Now we have three KPI cards. Three cards. Okay, just like that. See? It's not that complicated. All right. Now what we're looking for is average age. Okay, so I'm just gonna do the same thing as we did before. This is gonna be a little bit more easier. All right, so yeah, so this is gonna be more easy because we don't have to do any calculation. Okay, we're gonna go to visualization, we're gonna X this out. Okay, we're gonna look for age, just age group, age right here. Okay, bring that down. Okay, 55K. Okay, 55,000. You can't be 55,000 years old, okay? Because we're not looking for the sum, okay? We're looking for the average. So go click on average. And then we get the average age is 36.92. Now that we can't have point because I can't be 20.1 years old, right? So what we're gonna do is we're going to go over here, the display units. We're gonna do well, let's do a rounding actually. Yeah, we'll just keep it as the rounding. So 37. We don't want to have any type of decimal when it comes to age. Okay. And we also want to change the title, of course, because this title, this is not a good title. So we want to do average age. Average age. There we go. Great, great, great. All right. Next thing is average salary is our next KPI. Okay. So, like we did before, now let's do the next KPI, next key performance indicators, average salary. Okay. So you see I typed in salary here, but no, we're gonna go with actually monthly income. Okay. First thing I'm gonna do is copy, paste. Now I have another KPI card. Okay, we're gonna take our average age and we're gonna go with monthly income. Okay. If you can't find it, just type it in on this. Go on the fields. All right. Now this is a crazy looking number. We don't want the sum. We want the average, right? And this is where we get the average. Okay. Now we want it to look a little bit more cleaner. We're gonna go over here, call out value. We're gonna do in thousands. There we go. We get the K, right? You want to just get Ks. Yeah. One more thing, I forgot to actually change before I move on. I forgot to change the title. We don't want average age again, so let me make that average salary. Done. Okay, and guess what, guys? We're on our last KPI card now. We have one, two, three, four, five. What we have one, two, three, four, five. What's the last KPI? Average tenure. Okay, so I'm going to first copy last one, paste, just like that. It's like I might need to make my a little bit bigger because it looks like there's not enough space now that I'm seeing that. So actually, I'm gonna make the entire canvas bigger. Uh, yeah, let's just make it bigger because this is way too small. Custom. Okay, let's make the width 1300. Oh, let's make it 1500 actually. We need. Mm, maybe you know what? I'm gonna make it 1700. Let's make it 1700. We want some more space over here. Let's also make the height like 900. That's the height. Let's make it 1100. Yep, there we go. Now we have a little bit more room here. Okay, because yeah, so yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't explain that part. If you want to make yours bigger, just click on the background, go to this paintbrush, go to canvas settings, and go from here custom, and then change this accordingly. If you want it to be higher in height, make it 1200. If you want to make it width, make it 1800. This will just make the entire dashboard bigger, okay? So you have more space to work with your stuff. Okay. Anyways, let's get back to the final KPI, which is average tenure. Okay. Now that remember what that is. That is how long somebody has been. Okay. That, or you could say the duration, or the not duration, years, years at company. Okay. Years at company. We're gonna first take this out. How long have they been at the company, right? Now we can't have 10K as 10,000 years they've been there. No, we need the average years at, and we also need to change this value not to thousands. And what's the last thing is we also want to change that title. So we're gonna go here, title. Okay, and average tenure. Boom. There we go. Now let's take a look at our what we have so far. Okay, I want to make this a little bit bigger too. So we're going to see the way I do it is I kind of first put all the data and then I start like formatting, right? So I'm gonna change some of the stuff based on like the size and everything as we move on, as we add more things. But um yeah, so far this is what I have. This is what we have so far, right? Nice little dashboard. Okay, count of employees. We have our KPIs right here. All right, now we're going to get into the visuals. We're going to get into the visuals. I'm going to take a little break and come back, and then we're going to get started with the next visual. Okay, so remember here is how we edit it, right? So we're going to go here under visual. Okay, first let's see how we want our chart to look. Detail labels. Do we want it inside? So do we want the number inside? Do we want it outside? I would keep it outside. Also, data value and percentage. Do we want to just have male, female, and then show the percentage, category, data value? Yeah, so it's really whatever you want, whatever you think. I think this looks better, category and percentage. I think that just like it's better than just putting the count. We want to actually see which one is male, which one is female, okay? And we also want the change the color. Definitely want to change the color, right? So how we're gonna do this is we're gonna go to just type in color, wherever we see blue. Okay, you're gonna go to values right here. Sorry, not values. You're gonna go to slices, slices. Yeah, slices. Click on male. Right. So since male looks like a higher percentage than female, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna make it a darker shade of pink, right? Do a darker shade. Doesn't really look pink in my opinion, but darker shade, right? And then for female, I'm gonna do a lighter shade like this. Might want to make the male a little bit darker. Yeah, a little bit darker like that, right? Just to match the everything. And the last thing we also want to do, not the last thing, but we also want to get the title right, okay? So we want to make sure this is attrition uh, by gender. Want to make sure that title is there. Want to make sure the title is white. Okay, just like that. Let's see how it looks so far. Yeah, see? Just like that. Okay. Want to also get the background. That's another thing. The background cannot be white. It will not look right. Okay, we're gonna make it black like this. And also want the border, need some kind of border, right? So we have the border on. Want to make sure we can see what's here, right? So what you want to do is you want to go on to slices, I mean, sorry, detail labels and under values. You want to make sure that it's white so we can actually see what we're looking at, right? We want to make sure we can see what we're looking at. Okay. And we can also make it bigger. We do like 13. Yeah, we can make it bigger. We can also make the title bigger. Okay, so let's make the title like 18. 18. Oh, we can make it bigger than that. We can make 25. How about, yeah, 25. All right, just like that. Okay, we also need the legend, right? Oops, legend. Let's see. Search bar kind of, it's not that nice on this thing. Okay, legend, yeah, there it is. Okay, text in the legend. I also want to make sure that that's white too, so we can see. We want to make sure we can see what's going on. Okay, and I'm also going to make this not white because it doesn't look right. It does not look right. I think I will make it slight pink. Detail labels value. Mhm. So here it is, female. Oops, female. We'll make the color maybe just a lighter pink color. And the male, you could do a little bit darker. Oh, no, that doesn't look right. And that's the funnest part about uh, RBI is like just being creative. Maybe we'll make it like a snowish kind of grayish kind of white. That's too white. And we'll make this lighter. I gotta make my mind up already. Spending too much time trying to figure out the color. Way too much time trying to figure out the color. All right. So there we go. We have our on the right, we can see that this is the dashboard. We can also make the legend bigger too, you know, the text on the legend. Let's make it like 15. Yeah, there we go. Make it like 15 or something. Right, and the title. Let's get the title. Okay, let's make it a Times New Roman. Okay, just like that. All right, and there we go. We have our first dashboard. I want you to notice what happens when I click. Notice how the KPIs change. We're seeing average age is 37. It's a session rate. What happens when I click on one of these? We see that it changes, right? This is because it's completely, this visualization is correlated with the data that we inputted right here for values, sum of attrition count. And that's really what we're seeing is that difference in data, right? The legend is all it's doing is just dividing, showing how it changes. Count of employees female, count of employees for male. And yeah, that's right. We can also put the legend not center, right? Maybe bottom center like this. Yeah, yeah, probably bottom center would be a little bit. Yeah. And you can like change it however you want, you know, change it to however, it looks, but whichever looks better. Also another thing, I'm gonna take away the gender right here because we already have the title. Okay, so we go here, legend and title, we just turn it off. There we go, perfect. Okay, now we can take a look at it now, nice and clean, nice and clean. Click on it. Okay, now we have done our first donut chart right here. Okay, and remember this donut chart, when you click on it, data will change. Okay. And this is going to work for all of our data sets. Okay. So the next one that we're going to do is I believe it's, okay. So we're going to do another chart, donut chart. Sorry. We're going to do another one, but this one's going to be attrition by education. Okay. So what we're going to do, the easy way, what we can do is just simple copy, paste. Boom. Now we have another one. Okay. But this is not the data that we want because we already figured this out. So what you're going to do here, this is what we're seeing. Gender, sum of attrition count, X, X. Okay, now we have an empty thing, empty chart right here. Okay, now for the legend, what are we looking for now? We're looking for education and the years of how many years have they been part of that company, right? So this is the two values that we want to look at. So we have education, we have years at the company. Okay. And both of them will be on legends. They would not be on values. Now I butchered that. Now what we're gonna do is we're going to make another donut chart. Okay, but this time we're going to look at education, attrition by education, and how many years that they were in this company. Okay. First thing, click on the donut chart we just made. Control V, Control C, Control V. All right, now we have two. Instead of sitting and making another one, we already made one, right? So it'd be way easier to just copy paste, okay? But this is not the data that we want because we already have this, obviously. So we're going to, I wish there was more space on Power BI. We're going to click on this and click X and X, okay? For the legends, how are we how are we dividing data? We're dividing it based on education field. Okay, so we put education field into the legend. We're also dividing by how many years they worked at the company, those two, all right? And what's the data source that we're using? Well, what we have been using is attrition count, right? So values is always going to be attrition count because that's what we're taking this from. We're taking all of this from attrition count. So we don't want to, that's the only thing we're looking at. We're taking attrition count and we're filtering it based on the department they worked or how long they worked there. And there we go. Okay, I'm gonna full screen this focus mode. And there we go. Now we have another donut chart. Okay, now the colors, yes, I'm not a big fan of these colors. I don't think they match the aesthetic of the chart, right? So I'm gonna just go and change these colors. Okay, sorry, this one. Slices. Okay. And first we go to life sciences the most, right? So how I do it is I do darker, and the more it is, the darker it is. So we're gonna do the dark. We're gonna do a darker shade of pink for life sciences. Medical is the second most amount, so we'll do a lighter shade for medical. Go to marketing. We're not gonna do orange. Nope. Marketing. Let's go back to medical. Let's pick a darker shade and life sciences. Let's pick the darkest shade like that. Okay. So this is what you do. Just click on life sciences, click on the darkest shade right here. Okay. Very simple. Medical marketing. Technical degree was 13.45%. So that one we're going to make it nope, same color. We're gonna make it a lighter shade like that. Okay. Other is the lightest shade to be like this, and human resources. I guess it's so small that we can't even see the data for it, but we're just gonna make it white like this. Okay, there we go. Right, and let's make sure we add a title because this is not attrition by gender. This is by education. Okay, now let's go back. There we go. There we go. This is what we have. Okay, now font is a little bit big on this, so I'm going to actually make the detail labels. Let's make the detail labels slices and font. The values, let's just make them like 9. Yeah, let's just make it a 9 because they're too big. We don't want this much. Make it like title doesn't need to be that big. We can make it like 16. For the title, we want to make sure it's also in the center. No, we definitely don't want that. All right, like this. Now, let's see what happens when we click on each one. Notice the KPIs change. Every time I click, the KPI changes. Okay. And we see count of employees. The smallest portion, we see 27. 607 for the biggest portion, which is life sciences. So this is interactive completely. This is completely interactive. You will be able to see, especially if this was bigger, we'll be able to see, right? But the thing is, in this dashboard, we're going to be adding multiple uh, different visualizations. We're going to be adding way more. We're going to be adding more visualizations. Um, I wrote down, I think, at least 5. 1, 2. So we're gonna do a little bit more than that. But this is basically how to do the donut chart for education. So next, what we're gonna do is a stack column chart. Okay, that is gonna be right here on the top. So then once you just double click it like this, we're gonna put it right next to this image, right? This time, what we're gonna do is we're gonna look for age group. That is what we're dividing the data on. Okay, we can see age group. Age group is going to be our x-axis right here. X-axis is always down here. Okay. And our y-axis or our entire data that we're looking at is attrition count. We'll put that on the y-axis. And look at that. We see, we already see the data right here. Okay. If we focus mode like this, we can see the sum of attrition by each age range. It looks like from 26 to 35 is most of the people that fall into that category. And the lowest is 55 plus, the elderly. Okay? Now let me show you guys a little hack, right? I want my this chart on the right to look like this. How do I do that? All right, it's this thing called Format Painter. Okay? You're gonna click on the chart that you want it to look like, which is this. I'm gonna go up here under Home, Format Painter, and I'm going to click on this one. And look, now it is that. Now the color, we will have to, manually change it. But as for the style, the black background, the white text, that's what Format Painter is for. Okay. We'll go over here to columns. All right. And like we did last time, the biggest column, we're gonna make it the darkest. We have one, two, three, four, five. All right. So we make that the darkest. The one 18 to 25, we're gonna make it a shade lighter, like this. 36 to 45, we'll make it a shade lighter, like that. Let's see, 46 to that one will make it the light shade of pink. And then 55 plus, we're just gonna make, I always just do white as the thing. And there we go. There we go. Now, what else can we do here? I don't want some attrition count. That doesn't look nice, right? We want to make sure that it looks clean, right? So we're just gonna put attrition by age group as the title. Okay, this is the center alignment like that. I also want to do that with this one. So I'll do that with this one too. Center align just to make it look right. And we can't really see the grid, and we don't really need the grid line. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go under grid line, just turn it off. We don't really need that. And we do want to see the numbers on the Y and X axis, right? So that would be not plot area background. That would be over here. Okay. Under X and Y axis, just go ahead and change that color to white like this. Okay. And then X axis, do the same thing. Change the color to white. There we go. There we go. Now we have a nice um, stack column chart. Okay. We click on it. See how we're getting interaction of all of these visualizations. If I go ahead and click here, the most important thing is this right here, right? This is what I'm always paying attention to, the KPIs, how it changes, the count, right? If we click the lowest 55 plus, we're going to see the count is the lowest 47. But there we go. Okay, and to undo, just click it again. Now our data is back to normal. Okay, compare is we can also take the most or the sum of all the employees, right? Which is basically employee count. Okay. So what this is doing right here is this is showing the people that are employees overall and the people that were employees that decided to not be employees anymore. That's what the employee count would indicate. The rate of attrition, right? We have the attrition rate right up here, but how can we see that in the chart? Well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to click on this chart. We're going to go to the line, which is right here, line and stack column chart. Click on that. Now we have a line y-axis. Okay. Now, if we want to see how the attrition rate goes up or down based on age group, we're just going to type in attrition rate, and that's going to exist on our y-axis like that. And you can see the line right here. We want to make that line visible, right? So that would be under secondary. No, that wouldn't be under secondary. That would be under lines, right? And the color, right? We want that color to be white so we can really just see. All right. We can see the pattern right here, pattern right here. And even the labels should not look like this. right? We don't want the labels being blue and white. Um, let's move on to the next visualization, okay? Oh wow, look at that. What you're gonna do is we're gonna just copy and paste like how we did before. Copy and paste. We're gonna bring that down here, okay? But we don't want this visualization. What we want is a stacked bar chart, right? So click on this and double click. Boom. Look at how the data just changes into a different. But we don't want age group, some attrition rate, attrition count, age group. No, we are actually looking for the salary slab. Okay. So we are looking for, based on their salary, how many people have left. So we're going to take away this. Okay. And we're going to look for salary slab. That's going to be on our y axis. And then we're going to take the entire sum, or just the attrition count. We're gonna make that our x-axis. And look at that. So let's take a look. Let's take a look. Up to 5,000, right? Up to 5,000, 5 to 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, 15,000, 50,000. So we see the which completely makes sense. I mean, we see the slab the salary that's the lowest had the highest attrition count, right? Makes perfect sense. One that's getting paid 15,000, obviously it's the sum of attrition counts 5, right? Versus here is 163 based on pay. Okay. And let's also do the same thing we did before. Let's change the colors of this, want to make the colors look this is the grid lines that we're using. Okay. Um sorry, not grid lines, sorry. Sorry, I was thinking the wrong thing. Bars, okay? Up to 5K. We're gonna make that the darkest shade. Darkest shade. 5 to 10K, we'll make that a lighter shade like this. 10 to 15, we'll make it a lighter shade like that. And then 15K plus, we'll make that just white, shaded white, like that. There we go. See how easy that is? There we go. Okay, we want to also change this title because we're not looking at age group anymore. We're now looking at attrition, attrition by salary. And there we go. There we go. That is our bar chart right here. Okay. It's very important to not only just make the bar chart, me being a data analyst, it's not just about making visualizations, it's about understanding, right? We make these visualizations, but we also want to understand what is really happening. Like we can see our KPIs based on this. We want to make assumptions based on looking at. And this data makes a complete sense. Up to 5K, those that are paying lower are more likely to leave a company, right? So, I mean, that's what I'm getting based on this data. When I work with data, I'm starting uncovering more things of what the reason why the data is the way it is. Let's move on to our next visualization. What we're going to do is an area chart, okay? So double click area chart up here. And this time we're going to do by years at the company. That's what we're going to look at, okay? So how we're going to do this is we're basically going to get years at company. This this right here is going to be our x-axis. So we're going to base it on. And our total data, as always, is attrition count. That's always our that's the that's always going to be our total right there. Okay. Remember the format method? Click on here, format painter, click on this. Now it's changed. There. See, once you get the hang of it, it's very simple. Okay. And then, like we did before, title, let's make sure the title is attrition by years at company. You always want to make sure titles are always correlated to the data. Okay, the color. Let's change the color because we want grid lines is what we're looking at. I mean, not grid lines. I'm always getting that mixed up. Lines. Okay, color. We don't want the blue color. Of course, we want the pink color, right? Want the pink color. Um, line style. I think everything's good. Yeah, we don't need to look at categories. You know, maybe a little bit. Yeah, like that. Okay, there we go. Now, I want you to make an inference looking at this by years at company. What does that even mean? Click on here. We're seeing 10, 20. I'm just analyzing right now. That's all I'm doing. Um, attrition by attrition 21 by 10. Yes, okay. So what we can really see is most of the people are leaving after 1 or 2 years. The first year looks like 59. Our total amount of attrition count was from the first year. So I'm guessing that that's very interesting. Actually, that is very interesting now that I think about it. Yeah, it looks like year one is the most, right? And the people that tend to stay longer, it's um, less likely of a chance. Of course, it's gonna be zero because I don't think 40 years. I don't know if anyone has been in the company for 40 years. Now, looks like we're kind of caving in on the space. Okay, so I am going to actually make this bigger, and I showed you guys how to do this already. Canvas background. Okay, canvas settings. Let's try to get a little bit more height on this. I'm going to get 1500 as the height, just so we can add more. And we're also going to get that to 2000. All right, there we go. Now we have more space. I think that it still needs more as far as height. Okay, this might be a little too much. I think maybe 1650. I think that might be the sweet spot. 1550. There we go. That's a little bit better. Okay, because we need a little bit more. We need some space here. Okay, to get the other okay. So now what we're gonna do is we're going to base on department. Okay, very simple. We're gonna do the same copying and pasting. Okay, so I'll take this, copy and paste, bring that to the bottom. All right. We're looking at department, right? So we're going to just completely take out salary slab and we're going to go into data. We're going to divide it by apartment. So apartment is going to be in our y-axis like that. I wish the colors would stay the same, but looks like it doesn't. So no worries. I'll just go ahead and change the color. These are bars. Of course, research and development is the most, so we make it darker color. Sales will make it less, and then so human resource is the lightest. There you go. See, it's very quick to make these changes. These changes don't take long at all. Let's also change the title. Let's change the title of this. This is going to be attrition by department. Okay. Now I don't want you just following along and just copying what I'm doing. I want you to actually look at the data. Okay. What do we notice here? Research and development. The sum of attrition is 133. People in human resources, the sum is the lowest. What does that tell you? Always got to make your own assumptions. Okay. Every time you're working with the data set, make inferences. What is this data telling you? You don't want to just make the visuals and that's it. You want to actually understand. Okay. So there we go. We have one, two, three, four, five, six. We want to add some. Next is going to be Marshall status. So let's do we've done enough bars and lines. Let's do another pie chart, okay? Copy, paste like this. Okay, we don't want the same data, obviously. So we're gonna go in here. We're gonna take out education field. This one we're gonna do Marshall status. Are they single? Are they married? That's what we want to look at. There we go. So we notice how the data changes, okay? We get a full screen divorced, married, single. Okay, let's change the colors because they're not um, conducive to what we're trying to do. So we're gonna do the slices. Okay, single is the most. So there we go. We'll make that the darkest color. This is how I do it. Married, we'll make it a lighter color. Well, actually, you know what? Single, let's do a lighter color. Married, let's do a light shade. And then divorced, we'll just do white like that. Or not white, sorry. We'll do a grayish, grayish white like this. Good. All right. So you guys also remember the title, my Marshall status, right? That's what we're looking at right here. Okay, let's go back. No, when my Zoom is not working. All right. What can we inference based on this data? Single, 50%, married, divorced. So employees that are single are more likely to leave. And that actually makes a lot of sense, thinking about it actually. I mean, oops. Well, I don't know what just happened. It makes a lot of sense because, if you're married and you want to keep that stable income, you wouldn't want to risk leaving an organization, right? Versus when you're single, it's kind of easy to move around. So that's really what I'm interpreting based on this. Okay, so we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I want to add one more, okay? And this is going to be our last one. This is going to be by travel. So first, we don't have any space. Here, I'm going to put the filter, so I don't want to use this space on the right side. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make the canvas bigger. Yeah, I guess I should have made it bigger from before, but let's do 1900 like that. Okay, and we're going to just put our last visualizer um, right here. Okay, and this is going to be based on travel. Okay, so let's see, which one do we want to do? Let's do a stack column chart like this. Let's stretch it. Okay, let's um, let's do travel, business travel. That's the x-axis, and attrition count. That's the y-axis, like that. There we go. Okay. By now, I think you should know how to do the formatting. Format painter, click format painter, boom. And then there we go. Okay. And uh, I do want to make it a little, you know what? I do want to add more space to this. I'm gonna make the height 2000. Let's just do 2000. Okay. So now I can you know, I don't want it to be too small where you can't see it. So there we go. Okay. Let's make this full screen. All right. We can't really see travel rarely. We can't really see it because the color is dark under here. So we want to change the color. First, let's change the columns. Okay. Remember how we do it? Travel rarely is the highest. So we want to the make that the darkest shade of pink. This one we make a lighter shade of pink. And then this one we make, well, actually, these kind of look the same. So I'm going to actually do this. And for this one, I'm going to just do white like that. And then travel rarely. There's no travel rarely. And let's go into the properties. Okay. We want to make sure that we can see what we're looking at. We can't really see the titles at all. So let me just go. If you can't ever find anything, it's always good to just type it right here. And we can see, look at the colors, black. We don't want black. We want to see what's happening. So we're going to change all of these. We can see some of attrition count, traveling, business travel. Okay, but we also want to see the grids. So let's change that also. As for the grid lines, I don't think we really need. Uh, we can kind of just take out the grid lines. But what I want to see is down here. travel frequency. I want to see everything. So, oops, nope, wrong, wrong color, wrong color. Nope. No, I guess my brain is not working right now. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay. Nope, that's not it. Let's take out the grids. These right here is what I wanna, is what I'm looking for. So this is part of the process. Sometimes it's just like it's a matter of just going in and looking for it. See, there we go. Now we got it. There we go. Like this, just like that. Values. Now I don't use Power BI that much, so but I do enjoy Power BI a lot. It is very it makes it very simple. It makes things very simple. You do the Power BI. Still looking for that. Still looking for that. Travel rarely. Just look at the colors real quick. This is the raw process. I'm not just gonna edit it out. I'm gonna actually look for it and try to find it here. Nope. 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 Hmm. Background is correct. There we go. There we go. My God, that's what I was looking for this whole time. There we go. Now we got it. See, I didn't want to just skip the video. I wanted to find it like in real time. But there we go. So now we have our section. We want to make this title a little bit bigger. So, because let's get this title. Let's make that font to 18. Nope, I didn't do it. There it is. Make it 20. Make it, let's make it 23. Make it 23. Okay, we don't want some of it. We just want attrition by trap. Okay, there we go. And there we have it. That is our visual right here. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Attrition by travel. We can full screen this like that. Okay, travel rarely. Those who travel rarely. Looks like the attrition count is high. Those that travel frequency, those that don't travel at all, it's the lowest. So that it's hard to make assumptions based on that, but yeah. Okay, now the last thing we want to also make sure that this is interactive, right? So what we're going to do is add filters, which is why I wanted to keep this space right here. I wanted to keep this space empty. So for the final portion, now we're going to add the slices to filter, okay? This is how we're going to do it. This is how I am going to do it. You can do it however you want, but I'm going to add a rounded rectangle, right? And I just want, I want it to look nice and neat. So I'm going to, basically I might make this a little bit smaller, make it like to down here. And we can actually just put this right here. I'll figure out the style later. Okay, we want to change this color, obviously blue with pink. I mean, that's not, those don't go together. Let's be honest. So let's change that color to light pink. That's the one that we've been doing. Okay. I think I am going to change. I'll make it just a rectangle because, oops, nope, wrong one. I'll make it just a rectangle. That's it. Okay, this will just delete that. Okay, we'll just make this a rectangle. Pull this down. Okay, style. Let's change this. Okay. All right. And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna add filter. We're gonna filter it by age group. We're gonna filter it by the first filter is going to be age group. Okay, how we're going to do this is we're going to go into these visualizations. We're going to look for slicer, which is right here, slicer. Double click slicer. Hmm, Double click slicer, yep, like that. Okay, it should just appear right here. Okay, and what we want our filter is we want by age. So we're just going to type in age group, move age group like this. And let's take a look. Let's take a look. We can see that there's a bullet list where we can basically put in the age, but I want to make it vertical. So we're gonna go here, slicer settings. We're gonna make it a drop down. So you're gonna click on it and then you'll get like the age and stuff. We also want to make sure that we can multi-select. Yeah, we want to make sure it's multi-selecting. Okay. We want to also, let's see how it looks. Right. The white wouldn't really make sense. So actually I would make this I think black in color would be better. So let's make the background black. Let's make the text white. Okay, so we go to visual, it's the slicer, properties. So background is white, values. Okay, we want to make sure the values are white. Okay, make sure values are white. Um, let's have it like this. Okay. We also want the title up here. We want to make sure we can see age group. So yeah, let's make sure the age group is the title. And yeah, we can't really see it because it's black. The title is black, right? So we want to make the title white. Okay, we'll make it white in color like that. Okay, let me go back to title. Let's also make not title font. Let's make it bigger. Let's make it like 20. Let's make it big so we can really see it really stands out like this. Okay, okay. Let's go to format right here. Let's bring forward. So this is always visible. We don't want the shape to cover it, okay? So when you click on here, format, bring forward, bring to front. Okay, this one, send to back. Okay, there we go. Let's try to zoom in and really take a look at this. I don't know why my zooming isn't working. So I have to just use this right here. Yep. Okay. We just want to make it look as pretty as possible. I think the text needs to be bigger. Text should not be this small. So let's make sure the text is wow. Let's make sure the text is big. Okay, so we're gonna go here. I'm gonna go on visualizations. Remember this. Okay, type in font. Okay, values. Let's make it 20. Let's make the values 20. Let's make the values 25 actually. And then let's also make the title. Let's make the title bigger. We'll make it like 29. Let's make it like 35. Okay. Yeah. 37. All right, there we go. Now let's see how it looks. Should look better. Oh, wow. That's very big. So yeah, a lot of this is trial and error. Okay, age group. Just try to back out. All right, so of age group right here. Okay, now this is another issue that we need to also make sure that we can see, right? See the values. Make sure the values are also black. Oops, no, values are white. Selection. But notice how the data changes, right? That's really cool. But yeah, we want to also make sure that the selection is color that we can use. So no background. Right. So now look at this. We have our first slicer. When you click the drop down, we go 1825. We see data change accordingly. 36 to 45, 45, right? And you see how this bar chart will only show data from 46 to 55. When you unclick it, it's everything together, right? But we're gonna have multiple filters, right? We have the age group, right? So what I want you to do is copy, paste, Control V, okay? This time you're gonna go in the field, X this out. We're gonna go by business travel next. So we're gonna just type in business travel, drag that into the field, okay? And you can see it says age group, right? But when we click over here, non-travel, frequently travel. So all we want to do is just change the title of this. Okay. So go in the title, change this to business travel, right? Then we see how the name changes. Now to get the so you just rewind and see how to get the black color. It's very simple. You just go into the border border color, right? And when we click on black, we can see that. I click on white, and we click on black. Yeah, no, yeah. So that's the visual border. I also want to make sure that the it's round. It looks nicer if it's rounded, right? So we're just gonna go into here and just click on, just type in round. Anything that you don't know, just type in, right? Rounded corners. Okay. And this is how we make it from looking like a square to looking like a button, right? These things are very annoying. Okay, so that is how we get this look right here. Business travel, age group. Okay. And next, what we're going to do is we're going to look at a different filter. We're going to look at department. Okay. So we're going to do the same thing. Copy, paste, bring that down like this. Okay. Go on the visualizations, take out business travel, and we're gonna put department in that field, department. Okay, and notice how business travel both say business travel and business travel. But when you actually click on it, the filter is different. Okay, so we just need to change the title again. We go here, type in title. Okay, we change this to department. There we go. Age group, business travel department. So we already have different filters right here. I don't know if I wanted to add one more. I want to add education field, okay? So just like how we got these. I'll make one from scratch just in case if anyone was having trouble with the colors. I'll make one from scratch. So I'll just double click on this. There we go. Okay, double click on this. Let's make the size. All right, make the size like that. Okay. In the data field, we're gonna put its education field. Okay, I'm gonna drag that into this field like this. All right. Now we're gonna go into the settings, slicer settings. We want to make sure it's a drop down. Okay. And we want to also change our titles. So I think education feels good. We just put space between them. Okay. Then we're gonna type in font. We don't want 12. We want at least 20, not even 29. We make it 38. I think it was 38 or I guess it was higher than that. Oh, 60. Never mind. Never mind. It was 60. Okay. Pull this down. Okay, same thing with the subtitle. We can't have 60 as the title and 12. So we want to also make sure this subtitle is 25. 25. Okay, there we go. Font color. Now we want to change the font color to white. So we're not going to really see it. Change the font color to white. And then the background, we want the background to be black. There, like that. Okay, background to be black. We can't see these. Okay, so we want to make sure these. Let me try to move this all in the way. I don't know what this is. Okay, I think I just undid whatever I did. Okay, now we want to also make sure we can see this too, right? So let's click into this again. Here, slicer settings, selection, education field, border. Okay, make sure the values are white, any color. Okay, let's go into properties. Right, so um yeah, so we're having a problem with this one, which I kept forgetting because we can't really see unless we highlight it, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to slicer settings, go to values, and find background down here. Click this to black. Now that's good to make this. That's how I made the bullet points. Okay, and there we go. We have age group, business, travel, department, education field. Right. And you know what I want to do? I want to also add a little title just to let anyone know what this is. So, remember what we did in the beginning of the field where we added a text. So that's what we're going to do here. And to go into a text box, obviously not that big of a text box. We just make it a little bit smaller. Okay, we're going to bring it down here like this. We're going to name it filters. See, it's so small. Okay, we're gonna make sure it's a bigger title. It is a bigger title, so maybe 80 might be too big. I think 72 is good. Okay. If you see this disappear, Sometimes that's gonna happen if you, that only happens when you click on the background. So all you have to do, if this disappears, click on the outside. There you go. Then you will get it. So that only happens when you click on this background. It's basically showing you what you made. If I click on the pink, the whole thing will become pink because that's basically the shape. So just click outside of it, then you'll be okay. Click outside of it. All right, this is filters. We want to take out the transparency. Transparency at 100%. Okay, because we don't want any white. Let's make it look more pretty, you know. Let's, let's make the this thing. Let's make it Times New Roman. Make it bold. And yeah, filters. See? Also, you want to make, notice how this looks like a square, right? We don't like that. We don't want it to look like a square. We want to have a rounded. So we're going to go here, just type in roundness, rounded. Okay, visual border, turn it on, turn up rounded to 16, 17%. There we go. Now it looks more like a filter. Do that, okay? And let's take this out. I don't know what this is doing here. Okay, wow. So we just completed an entire dashboard. Wow, we just made an entire dashboard. Make this white color. Yeah, make this a white color. But there we go. Okay, after we have finished all, after we finished everything, if you want to just organize it, just align. Make sure you just align these graphs. Just align it with each other. Align it with each other like this. Now this is from, I believe it's IBM. So first, I'm just gonna align this just to make it look nice. All right, guys, for the most part, we're done. We have completed the entire dashboard, okay? Just play around with it. Go in each filter and notice how the KPIs change, right? And each filter follows each other. So even if I click on multiple filters, right? Let's do one for example. Somebody, let's just take somebody that's from 26 to 35 and that rarely travels and is in the research and development department and they got a technical degree. How many employees do we see? We see 23 employees. How many of them decide to leave the company? Eight. So the attrition rate is 16%. The average age is 30. The annual salary is 4,000. Average tenure. Okay, so see, really, these the entire dashboard is based on what you choose. If you choose somebody that's older, we can see that the data will change accordingly. 16 employees that are 16 employees that are 46 or above. Um, let's just say all. How many employees do they have that are 16? 46 and above, 228 employees, 46 and above, right? All of the data changes accordingly. So now you can make inferences based on the KPIs. Since this is from IBM, this is a data source from IBM. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to add a little IBM logo. Very simple. IBM is blue, right? But we're not looking for a blue logo. We're looking for, let's save that. Let's go to Gemini. Google Gemini. Not Gemini. I am a Gemini though. I actually am a Gemini, but okay. Let's go on Google. Let's just put in. We'll sign in. Oh man. Let me upload a IBM image. Okay, I'm gonna upload the thing that I just downloaded earlier. Let's try to find that on the that would be on the downloads IBM logo, and I'm just gonna have Gemini make this logo a light pink color with we've been using white and white look good with the letters still being white and the background is change color. Okay. Yeah, I think that'll look good. Okay. So we'll let Gemini do its thing. This is how it's very helpful resource if you want to just adjust an image to make it look. See, there we go. Yeah, this is good. I'm gonna go ahead and download this. Okay. So I forgot to mention, how do you put images into Power BI? Very simple. Just click on image, open. There we go. And that is beautiful. That is beautiful. I don't know if I want it to be white in color or black in color. I think we just stick with white for now. Okay. For the most part, after adding the image, that is basically the entire dashboard that we have. It's an interactive interactive dashboard. I hope if you guys are following along, I hope you guys I hope you guys like it. I hope it's helpful. You know, if you're trying to get into this field, I hope you enjoy the process. It's all about not just making visualizations, but it's about understanding what those visualizations do. That's so important. So I'm gonna make more videos on whatever project I decide to do next, because I know a lot of people I know are like, how do I make these dashboards? Because there are other tutorials, but they don't go in depth on like how to do it step by step. They go pretty quickly, and I'll try to make it to somebody who's never used Power BI is able to understand it well. That's what my tutorials are gonna look like. Okay. I'm gonna do more tutorials, one maybe on Tableau and maybe Jupyter Notebook. We'll see. But anyways, I hope you like this, and um yeah, hope you guys like this, and please feel free to ask any questions down in the comments. Bye.